this year. I want to talk about one of them. It's called Marriage Equality, and it was one of the 3 film shot with the Nokia Ozo earlier this year. So I really want to walk you through the process of creating a VR film, not on the technical side, but more on the creative side. So a little backstory. So Nokia went to various companies and asked to produce those films, and they went to, one of them was Reality Technica, who is a company very famous in the 3D world. And the next day I got a call from Steve Sclair, who is the CEO of this company, who's like, you know what, we're going to do a VR film. I know you're into VR. What about we write and direct it together? And I was like, great, what do you want to talk about? And so I want to talk about something that happened last week, which is Supreme Court of the United States ruled in favor of same-sex marriage in all 50 states. And I want to talk about this. So we decided to write a VR film that would be narrative, like with actors and stuff, but it would be kind of a reenactment of what happened in front of the Supreme Court that day. So first, because I want this to be, I'm a filmmaker, I'm very down to earth. I want you to see what we did. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the script that we wrote. Because I started writing the script on Final Draft, and I was like, this is not working. I can't write for VR a 360 field of view in Final Draft. So I decided to use a more, the template we use for commercials. So we're not gonna, yeah, maybe I'll get right here for a minute. We're not gonna read the whole thing, but I just want to show you a couple of things. For example, Steve came up with a great idea, is to use the clock system for positioning. For example, here you see cameras on the curbside in front of the Supreme Court. At 10 o'clock, Pro-Gay Marriage Group is a riser and knife. At 2 o'clock, at 12 o'clock. Because at first we were like, oh, on the right, on the left, doesn't make any sense in VR. So this is a much better way of writing for VR, using this system, I think. Again, this is what we did. It doesn't mean you have to do the same thing. There's, a lot of different ways. And then we, the big issue we have as storyteller in VR is, and I feel it's a great loss, is that we can't do close-ups in VR. And for me, emotions often come from close-ups. So we had to think more of theater, of course, than traditional filmmaking. That's okay, but we still wanted to have some sort of close-up. So then we came up with the idea of having a journalist in the crowd and interviewing different people with a 2D cameraman filming the interviews. And then we had the idea of composite in the VR experience windows showing close-ups of people, which is inserts. There we go. You see in green here at 2 o'clock. Spokeswoman starts her speech. We bring a window at the 1 o'clock position to present footage from the live 2D cameras. So that was something we tried to compensate for the lack of close-ups in VR. And then we decided to shoot at Warner Studios backlot. They have something that looks like a courthouse. And so this was what we prepared for the staging of the piece. So again, I put the clock here so it's easier to understand. Camera is right here in the middle. At 12 o'clock, you have the official podium. This is the courthouse here. And then we have the pro-marriage equality zone, the anti-marriage equality zone, and different things happening. We also decided to do one continuous shot. Actually, on the day, we shot 3 shots total. We moved the camera, but when we got into post-production, we can go back to this. When we got into post-production, as most of you already know, editing in VR is it's tricky. Every time you do a cut, the audience has to look around, realize where they are, where they're standing, and that takes you out of the story a little bit. Now, there is plenty of ways you can make it work, but because our piece was really about feeling like you're there and you're living this historical moment, we decided not to use those two other shots and just stay on the one master shot instead. So now I'm gonna show you the film. It's 4 minutes 50 seconds. And I'm gonna play it on a VR player, and I'll use my mouse to like scroll around. So it's not perfect. It's always much better to see it on a headset, but you'll get the idea.
We thought production was complicated and difficult to work.
That's easy. Okay, here we go.
America tensely awaits word from the Supreme Court after 40 years of legal battles. Will the justices legalize same-sex marriage across the U.S.? At the center of today's decision is one man, Jim Obergefell. Obergefell and his partner, John Arthur, got married in 2013. They married in Maryland, where same-sex marriage was legal, but their home state of Ohio would not recognize their marriage license. Arthur was terminally ill with ALS, and they wanted Obergefell legally identified as his spouse on his death certificate.
Today,
the decision should be made by
is
God.
a joyous day of hope. This day comes after decades and decades of work by millions of people standing up for who they are, standing up for their families, knocking on doors across the country, coming out of places of worship, coming out in work, coming out in schools. Today, the Supreme Court is considering all Americans having the right to marry.
What is this energy like to be here on this day? It's very great. My father and my sister don't believe